that this strategy is effectively over. The progressive democratic strategy has been debunked. So through graphics, let's tell the story of the progressive Democrat strategy being debunked. RBN has done a lot of work, and I must say, I've initiated a lot of these content segments because I felt like that was sort of my area to sort of attack this progressive strategy. And now that we're going to be sort of not going away from it completely, because if they say some crazy shit, we're going to cover it, but it's not going to be as a focus on it. And we're going to be focusing more on stories like the other ones we're going to do today. Stories like the Israeli military's daily is rating years. I mean, that is a story we would normally do, but more of that. Biden's human rights pick withdraws after criticism on stance of Israel. The black cops in the video of Mr. Nichols, who was killed by the 5 black cops. And Iowa bill, there's actually an Iowan bill that bans fresh meat for food stamp recipients. So that is really going to be, we're going to start zeroing in on things like that, more socialist sort of coverage of socialist acts, more of United Workers. I'm sorry, worker strike with Shama Sawant. We want to be an intricate part of that. So, but let's talk about just some of the graphics, and most of these are from Aaron, our editor. So, of course, you got the silly group, the Vanguard, who they're pretty much, you call them, when you see a car accident, they're the ambulance chasers of the left. Completely and utterly unserious. Completely debunked. You have people like David Sirota, who was seen as a hero, always talk about his Oscars like that makes any difference to the working class. Gives great critiques of the working class. I'm sorry, of the Democratic Party. Uncovers great things, but then tells them to go vote for that same party. The unseriousness, that is completely playing the white moderate role that MLK talked about and not covered, but it must be updated to progressive because it's not just white people who's doing it. We see AOC playing this role. Also, and let's go to another graphic. This one here kind of has all of them. The lost whites of media. I must say, because I got to say this about Jordan. Jordan has stepped up his game, and I would assume that it's been some of the backlash of some of the critiques, RBN. But Status Quo has been updating what they're doing there. It's better than what it was. I'm not going to say where it needs to be, but it's better than what it was, and I want to give him credit for that. So, but a lot of the other same people is the same thing. Completely debunked. Why? And this story was why? What happened to left media? Why have they all collectively moved to the right? Because when you're attached to a party who moves to the right, like the Democratic Party, and you are progressive and you're hanging on for dear life, when they move to the right, you're moving to the right too. And if you're part of the white left media industrial complex, you're attached to those progressives because that's where you came in to your glory. Burnt out of the Bernie Sanders camp. So you're attached to that for dear life. RBN is not born out of that camp. We're post Bernie. And then there's another graphic just pointing out some of the same. Then there's other people who try to uphold this progressive strategy idea, who has been exposed as using a lot of CIA talking points. Then you have AOC with her excuses. Did I do that? That interview she actually did with this person, Ryan Grimm. You see how he uses his journalism to prop up people like this in that interview. Well, it's a difference from people having some sort of malice and people just not knowing what they're doing. That's the "did I do that?" excuse of the progressive strategy. We just don't know what's wrong. We don't know what we're doing. That's all. We're too naive. And then you have these people completely exposed at breaking points. Propped up by a billionaire or propped up by so-called independent, let's just put it that way. And just staying within the same narratives of mainstream media, completely without a independent perspective. They literally have gone to the right since leaving Rising. And if you just joined, I'm talking about breaking points. So, and I think I've gone through all the graphics I had, and then we're ending back on the fully exposed. They're trying to run this again. This will not work. But RBN is now going to be pivoting here. We're not going away completely from destroying, but we feel like we've destroyed this and debunked this concept. And now it was relentless for a while. It got kind of intense where it was almost once a week, twice a week. We were doing content trying to break down some sort of point from this progressive strategy. And although we still will be making content depending on what they do, like if AOC and the squad and progressives break another strike, of course we're going to cover that. If Sam Cedar says, hey, the force of vote morons, I want to make another video and say they're morons and they deserve this, I'll cover that. But there's no need to relentlessly poke holes in this garbage because this has been proven to be garbage. And Marianne Williamson's interview to me is like the lid on top. We can just say this is done. So that's how we're going to end the stream.